I took this face that I made and I made it better. That's right, we're getting right into it because this is a topic that I'm really excited about. I learned a lot throughout this process too, and I feel like a new person. No! And I want to share that with you. I want to share everything I learned about skin. I spent a while doing research and gathering tutorials, which are, of course, linked down below. But I gotta say before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, I'm a pretty big believer in taking a project from beginning to end just using Blender. In fact, for a long time, Blender was all I used. And I've been with Blender for a long time. I started using it back in version 2.7. It was a different time back then. But this project, and I hate to say it, this project really highlighted some of the shortcomings that Blender has for this kind of process. Well, specifically there's two shortcomings that I'll go over when I reach that point in the process. Okay? And now that that's out of the way, let's get to it. I've got 3 core parts for you. So, starting with the just overall shape of his face. Nah, I wasn't liking it. You know, I know my anatomy skills are better than that. With this first one, I didn't use any reference. I really just threw it together from memory. So, by taking my time and actually paying attention to human face reference, which I might have a lot of, I turned it into this. And of course, before starting, I was thinking, but what of all the work I put into that first face? Am I supposed to just destroy it all? Was it all for nothing? But given some time, I realized we must not fear change, for fear of change will lead to stagnation, which will lead to... No, but really don't be afraid to make big changes and to do iteration. This medium allows so much room to adjust and tweak and redo things, so why not use it, am I right? After just one step, there's already a difference as big as my nutsack. But believe me, we are just getting started. The second step was the biggest change to my usual workflow. Usually I would use procedural or tiled textures for the micro details in the skin. But this time I decided to hand sculpt them. And of course, sculpting details this fine requires insanely dense geometry, which is something that Blender can't really handle. Once you start working with over 1 million polygons, at least on my computer, Blender does not like it, and it makes that very clear. But by using the HD geometry feature in ZBrush, I'm able to work with up to tens of millions of polygons with no actual noticeable drop in performance. Don't ask me how that works. So after spending a while in ZBrush, of course still using reference, I was able to get a more detailed and accurate looking skin surface. But we aren't done with the surface of the skin yet. Oh no. Tell them to bring out the Everybody come equipped with bangers, throwing up our middle fingers. And you know what? Okay, right off the bat, my other major problem with Blender is the fact that there's no layering system for texturing. It feels like texture painting in Blender is the one thing that hasn't changed since version 2.0. Alas, I use Substance Painter. Also, it literally looks like Breaking Bad out there. Usually the way I texture skin in Substance is, you know, throw on a base color, paint in some faint red and blue, do the different necessary colors for the lips and fingers, etc. And that would be it. Wham bam. Thank you.
Oh man, I'm looking for a girlfriend now.
But through research I found this other method where you first paint the subdermal layer, you know, the layer right underneath the skin. Another thing I didn't have any trouble finding reference. And then actually painting the skin on top of that instead of just using a fill layer so that it has more organic and natural imperfections and variations in the skin. Then the other discolorations and details are added on top of that, leading to a much more realistic result. And so, like every time before this, we begin to approach the end. After the restructuring, detailing, and texturing, maybe you noticed a running theme with this video. Let's sit down a second and talk about this because this part's important. With all 3 of these things, and one way or another, I wasn't focused, I wasn't trying, I just wanted to get to the end. And because of that, I just wasn't working to the fullest of my ability. But by actively trying to create what I envisioned in my mind, instead of just blindlessly focusing on the end result, I was able to vastly improve my work. And the best part, it didn't take any longer than when I was rushing it. See?